GLP-1 weight loss drugs work because they paralyze your stomach, forcing weight loss through chronic nausea and starvation. Now, drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy aren't helping our metabolism. We aren't burning more energy. These drugs block the signals that tell our stomach and intestines to contract and move the food along the digestive tract. That leaves us with a full stomach that isn't emptying, and apparently that does not feel good. Because the food doesn't move into the intestines, the stomach remains stretched, and people feel this chronic, severe nausea that completely shuts down their desire to eat. So, this isn't the appetite suppression that most of us were expecting. These drugs do absolutely nothing to fix the underlying insulin resistance that is causing our weight to rise. And what's worse, the visceral fat that's causing our brain fog and inflammation and a host of other health problems stays trapped due to high insulin. Now we have a new problem. You aren't eating. This puts your body in a state of internal starvation as your cells are screaming for energy, cannot access the fat stores that's on your body, and your body is forced to start breaking down precious muscle and bone. These drugs have been presented to us as a lifeline, right? For those of us who can't manage, have not ever been able to manage successfully losing weight with the conventional diet advice of eat less, move more, this is supposed to be saving us. Now, I'm not a doctor. I just happen to escape my own obesity with real food. And I really want to help you understand your own physiology so that you can do the same thing. And I'll tell you one thing that seems obvious to me. Don't know why nobody else sees it, but it seems obvious to me. GLP-1 meds are respecting our body's function and getting to the root of why we struggle with weight loss just about as well as the calories in, calories out stupidity protocol ever did. They've created a medication that allows us to eat whatever we want, but our body can't get access to it right away. So let's look at how that impacts our health. And more importantly, let's try to understand why they would put us in this situation in the first place. Please subscribe. Appetite suppression has been seen as the golden ticket to achieve weight loss since about 1930s, like in that range. If we just find a way to block someone from being hungry, of course they're going to lose weight. That's like, it's a no-brainer, right? This very simplistic view of weight loss assumes that the only reason we eat is because we're hungry. But biologically, we eat when our body needs energy and building blocks. Part of the huge issue with GLP-1 meds is the users believe that they can eat whatever foods they want. And because they believe they can eat whatever foods they want, partially because they're told that, by the way, because they believe this, they don't understand that food is not just energy. It builds and repairs our body. So GLP-1 medications are based on the calorie lie that expects weight loss to be magically happening because we've eaten fewer calories. Our bodies do not have any concept of a calorie.
It all depends on hormones because our whole body runs on hormones. Our body has no calorie receptors, right? There's no cell receptor that says, oh, here's a calorie. This is what I'm going to do. Our body runs on hormones. Those are instructions as to what to do, how much to pump blood, how much body heat to generate. Everything in our body is run on hormones, not calories.
When gastroparesis happens, our body does not receive the energy and building blocks that it asks for. And just so you know, gastroparesis is when your stomach doesn't do its motions to move the food into the intestines, and then the intestines don't move. Like when this system gets paralyzed, that's what that means. Your body does not get the building blocks and energy that it's looking for. There is a deficit that our body needs to address. It has no choice. And unfortunately, the usual pathway that your body would take to solve this, what to make us hungry, doesn't work because our stomach is already full, right? The food hasn't left and we feel nauseous. So our body goes to plan B. And we all know that going to plan B is never an ideal story, right? Plan B's means that the good plan didn't work. Our body is going to try in plan B to slow down our internal processes to save some energy. Slow down the processes means slow down my brain, slow down my heart, slow down my kidney function. Like your body is going to slow down the internal organs to save some energy.
So as soon as you start to reduce your calories in, your calories spent, or your basal metabolic rate, immediately starts to go down. In fact, every single study has shown this. You're going to fight this and fight this and fight this until you break. Then you're going to eat and gain the body fat that the insulin is telling your body to do. The arrow of causality does not go from the calories to the body fat. The arrow of causality goes from the increased body fat, which is the cause, to the eating behavior, not the eating behavior to the body fat.
Even though your body slowed stuff down, it still needs energy and building blocks. That's why it has sent you for food in the first place. So using less energy doesn't give it what it needs to build and repair us. And in case you weren't aware, repairing the body takes a lot of energy. Not just energy, a lot of energy. It's part of the reason that when we are, for example, digesting food, which also takes a lot of energy, our body isn't in repair mode, right? So your body needs the energy to keep your body healthy. And so it's still looking for that energy to come in. And so what happens next? Well, now we've moved to plan C, Wellness Warrior. You can only imagine that by the time we get to plan C, our body is in a crisis, right? Now your body is desperate for energy and building blocks, and it will start to do what? Break down internal structures like muscle, bone. Of course, randomly damaged proteins will get broken down first. But by the time we're at plan C, your body is attacking you, right? And it's doing this to farm the building blocks and the energy necessary to keep the vital internal organs, the center of your body, right, including your brain, to keep all of this functioning properly. GLP-1 medications aren't helping our body to lose weight. GLP-1 medications are causing our body to treat the stomach like a storage bin. And unfortunately, because most of the people who take GLP-1 medications are unaware that the body functions on macronutrients, not calories, they are more likely to have eaten standard American diet foods when they took that medication. That means that their insulin went through the roof when they started that meal, ensuring that their visceral fat would be releasing inflammatory cytokines that cause inflammation and continue to put their metabolic disease, like they're just pushing it. It's pushing their metabolic disease like crazy. How can a drug like this make it to market? Have you ever wondered, right? Well, of course it's marketing, but it's more than that. It's marketing and desperation. We are desperate to change our lives. And so any snake oil salesman can come into our head and convince us to do something that's against our health. By the time my hip was hurting, I was willing to do anything to heal my hip and to avoid the upcoming surgery that I was limping towards. So I can only imagine that if I was at the end of my rope where my weight loss was concerned, right? If my hip hadn't started hurting, could I have seen myself getting to a place where I was considering one of these medications? Of course. Because when my hip was hurting me, I was desperate to do anything. And I might have been willing to downplay the potential side effects to get the result I wanted to get. But even as I say that, Wellness Warrior, the other thing that we are often told is that, no, the side effects, they rarely happen, right? Like most people don't get the side effects. Like that's just, and so this plays a huge role in our false sense of security that we're special, right? And the bad thing won't happen to us, heaven forbid. As I'm standing there, or probably more likely, as I'm sitting there talking to my doctor because my knees were so messed up too, my knees, my hips, like, so I probably would have been sitting talking to my doctor, overweight, skin rashes, joint pain, tinnitus, sleep apnea, like every possible negative side effect from my metabolic issue happening to me in that moment. So basically lying to myself that I'm going to be the lucky person who won't get the side effects. Like we're able to convince ourselves of almost anything, right? Because we think this is the only option, right? We think we've tried everything. Trust me, you haven't. Because what I'm going to tell you about the solution to this and how to, you haven't tried that. But we think we have. We want the solution that they're offering. So that magic pill, or in this case, magic injection, we want it to work. And so because we want it to work, they sell it to us. And guess what? It doesn't work.
Patients that are on GLP-1 agonists willingly got off the medication. What they found was that at 24 months, over 70% of patients had stopped taking the drugs. The primary reason for this is that people get sick of feeling sick. So if you are on these drugs and you're feeling inclined to stop them, you're not alone.
Okay, maybe it works for 30% of the people who take GLP-1 meds, because apparently 30% of them are able to get on their medication and maintain their weight loss. So it's working in terms of weight loss. Let's just be clear about what it's working on. Somehow they either don't have side effects or they get used to them and are able to move on. But for the other 70% of people, they didn't find the weight loss worth the side effects that they were living. Because remember, you will need to stay on this medication moving forward. So does that mean that the people who gave up on the medication wanted to stay overweight? No, not at all. It means that to be happy in life, we need to feel good, right? If our weight is good, but our body doesn't work, we will not be happy. If our body feels fine, but we're overweight, we will not be happy. We need both. So when we quit the medication because we want to feel better, like we want our stomach to stop being nauseous, we want our food to move along properly. When we quit the medication, but our weight begins to rise again, and we regain what we lost plus more, because that's how that works, right?
Anytime that we go off the GLP-1, then we increase the fat storage, so it rebounds. So basically, all of this is what's happening with yo-yo dieting, where people lose some weight and then they gain it back plus more, except this is like yo-yo dieting on steroids.
We are willing to do a deal with the devil to find a solution to our weight problem because we are worse off than when we started. We are blaming ourselves and ashamed to go out, right? Because we don't want to let people in the world know that the weight came back. But those people who quit GLP-1 medications did not just fail. They were set up to rebound because it is absolutely unreasonable to expect anyone to live the rest of their life nauseous with a slow-moving digestive tract. And for the company, it's a win. Their customer returns to examine what other options exist to solve my obesity issue, right? What we as customers don't understand is that this is a case of heads, they win, tails, we lose. They aren't trying to solve our obesity problem. That isn't profitable. This is important to understand, Wellness Warrior. When we take medication that forces our body to lose weight, The chemicals are overriding our survival biology, right? We are trading our metabolic health for severe and sometimes permanent digestive damage.
There are some people who get on a GLP-1 and their gut basically gets paralyzed. And it could be due to taking a lot of it or for a long time, or it could just be just individual differences or a genetic predisposition. But the stomach gets paralyzed. And it's not that the tissue is dead, it's just that you've blunted the signals so much that they're not getting any stimulation. And for some people, that function never comes back, so that paralysis may become permanent.
We are risking permanent stomach paralysis because we don't understand that our body is right. Our digestive system is a finely tuned machine designed to extract nutrients from our food to keep us healthy and thriving. If we overeat garbage, our body is right to put that garbage in fat storage and to cause weight gain, basically. It's right to do that. When we try to slow down or speed up our digestion, we aren't just manipulating calories. We are messing with the absorption of precious essential building blocks that our body needs to survive, to build and repair our joints, our skin, and our vital organs. These GLP-1 meds have actually created a unique scenario where we've eaten food and yet are suffering nutritional deficiencies because our body cannot adequately process the food. And when I'm talking about food, I'm talking about meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt. Even if that's what you've eaten, taking these medications, you're going to be in trouble. We are depriving our body of the amino acids, trace minerals, and vitamins necessary to run correctly. We start to experience fatigue, hair loss, and severe muscle wasting. This is on top of the nausea and loss of appetite. And our doctor's recommendation at that point, when we go back and we're complaining and frustrated and trying to figure out what am I supposed to do next? Yeah, it's a pill to ease our stomach, an expensive supplement for hair loss, and of course, painkillers for the joint pain because our visceral fat is still actively causing inflammation. And there you have it. This is why these medications, like many other nonsensical medications, make it to the market. In the end, you will be taking something. And whatever you take, you'll likely be taking it forever. No one wants to be on meds forever. No one wants to be overweight. What we want is a real answer that fixes our metabolism, lets us lose weight, and is affordable. Wellness Warrior, I got you. Because we can escape the prescription subscription model with one simple action. It's an action that the trillion-dollar medical and food industry doesn't want you to find out about. They've been hiding it from you for like more than 50 years. They hide it because there is no way for them to make outrageous profits from it. They'd make profits, not outrageous. To regain your health, you will prioritize one ingredient foods. That means that you will eat meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt. If you're keto or low carb, you're going to eat low glycemic vegetables, right? Like keep them low. The carbohydrates are what's causing your weight gain, along with the toxins in the vegetation, but that's a conversation for another day. When you stop eating all the processed garbage that the food industry pushes on us, so all those processed stupidities like these things and chocolate bars and stupid sauces and pasta and all kinds of dumb stuff, when we stop eating all the processed garbage that the food industry pushes on us, you are sending your body the correct biological information, right? Meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salts tells your body what to do because those are macronutrients are going to come out of that to tell you about. Your body knows what to do with real food. It is the packaged processed nonsense that it cannot manage and must put in fat storage. It is the packaged processed stupidity that is causing it to create visceral fat that is keeping you inflamed. And by cooperating with your body and removing the excessive amounts of carbohydrates, eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt, your insulin naturally drops back down to baseline. When insulin drops, the hormonal storage of toxic visceral fat can finally also stop. Your body can finally access and use all the stored energy. So that body fat, it can use it for energy. Honest warrior. The best part of all of this is that eating real food allows you to lose weight without being hungry, without being exhausted, or without being in any kind of metabolic emergency. By eating animal protein with the accompanying fat, you are giving your body the exact amino acids and micronutrients, well, amino acids, fats, right? You're giving it everything that it needs to build and repair you. You don't need appetite suppression when you eat real food. Why don't you need appetite suppression? Because your body signals fullness appropriately. And trust me, that feels amazing. When I'm eating and my body says, stop, you've had enough, it's a clear signal and I feel fine to stop because I've had enough. Wellness warrior, you don't have to choose between overweight and being permanently sick on a medication. By prioritizing real food, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt, you can effortlessly lose weight. You can build your muscle and reclaim your metabolic health. So now I want to hear from you, right? Have you or someone you know ever tried these GLP-1 medications? What was the outcome, right? Were you sold the lie that you could eat whatever you want, right? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to make sure that you don't fall prey to food companies' tricks, sign up for my free newsletter. It's linked in the description below as well. And let's keep fighting the garbage together, Wellness Warrior, you and me. Now that you know that the pharmaceutical industry is trapping you, you need to understand exactly how your doctor's traditional advice is secretly driving your cravings. So I want you to click on this video and I'll meet you over there on the road to health. Click on the link. Let's go.